Although I had never seen The Merchant of Venice before, I kind of knew what to expect. The main character, Shylock, is often thought of as the epitome of an ugly Jewish stereotype. I grew up in an observant household where the play was regarded as taboo, much like Richard Wagner's music. But when I heard the new film version features Al Pacino and Jeremy Irons, I had to see it. The heaviness is clear from the start of the film, when Shylock gets spit directly in the face by Antonio simply because he is a Jew. This behavior was commonplace in 16th century Europe, especially in Venice, where Jews were confined to ghettos. The Jewish characters in the movie are required to wear red hats to identify themselves as they were during the era. And because it was filmed on location in Venice with attention to historical authenticity, the persecution against the Jews was uncomfortably stinging.
When I came to view this screening, I was a little leery, to say the least.
Ken Jacobson is the Associate National Director of the Anti-Defamation League, a group which strongly objected to Mel Gibson's The Passion of the Christ. But the group has no such objections to this version of The Merchant of Venice.
I happen to think it's a beautiful production, so it has value as a film unto itself.
So while the movie's illustration of the persecution against Jews is difficult, another problem for Jews is the nature of Shylock's character. At times he is presented sympathetically, but the main thrust of the story has to do with a debt that Antonio owes Shylock. When the debt isn't paid on time, the terms of the penalty are rather harsh.
If you repay me not on such a day, in such a place, such a sum or sums as are expressed in the condition, let the forfeit be nominated for an equal pound of your fair flesh to be cut off and taken in what part of your body pleaseth me.
It is this vicious hatred and desire for revenge within Shylock that makes him so controversial and has tarnished the play with accusations of anti-Semitism. Again, the ADL is Ken Jacobson.
For example, the Nazis used The Merchant of Venice for their own educational purposes.
The director Michael Radford, who also directed Il Postino, thinks the overall message of the film and of Shylock's character is different.
For me, the kind of anti-Semitism that exists in the play is historical. 99% of people who see it just feel completely comfortable with it, Jewish and non-Jewish. We had a great response in London where in one preview where a guy stood up and said, "I'm a Muslim," he said, "and I totally identify with Shylock." So, for me, that's a perfect response. It's exactly where I think this thing should be.
Jeremy Irons has been gauging audience reactions as well.
The Jewish audience have no problem with it. It's the Christian audience who, because they're so keen to be politically correct, say this is anti-Semitic, isn't it?
For Pacino, it was Radford's adaptation that convinced him to play the role of Shylock.
I never had any desire to do Merchant of Venice, but then I read the script, Michael Radford's text, and I thought I understood somehow where Shylock was coming from. I thought he made a case for Shylock. And in doing that, I was able to see the elements of the character, those human elements, and I started to understand his motivation, and that was the point for me. I thought, I can play this.
Shakespeare's text offers sympathetic lines from Shylock about Jewish persecution, one you might even recognize. Spoiler warning, if you don't know the ending to the play, turn down your radio now. Okay. We never know whether Shylock would have actually killed Antonio due to a last-minute intervention by a judge. While Michael Radford believes Shylock would have killed him,
I choose to believe that he would have carved his heart out, because I think he was in that state of mind, the state of mind of a killer at that moment.
Pacino thinks otherwise.
That's a beautiful question. The jury's out as to whether he would have. What if he just?
Radford said yeah.
I say no. What if he just went to the point and he just went and he dropped the sword down and walked out? Wouldn't he have made a statement? If Shakespeare were alive today, that's the way he would have done. I know. I talked to him the other day.
For Air America Radio, I'm Joel Gershon, and I give The Merchant of Venice 2 pricked and bleeding thumbs up.